Hello, you are here on the Pathways virtual session for the Vice Presidents of Education. And here's our agenda for tonight. We're going to go over the questions that have been submitted prior to tonight's call. Then we'll have a little bit of a demonstration, and then we'll take additional questions if there are time permitting. In Zoom, there is a chat feature. If you go and hover your mouse, usually it's at the bottom, but you might have your menu bar on the side or the top, and look for the chat feature, and you could go ahead and enter any questions there. And I'll be going ahead and taking any of those questions later after we do the demonstration. We're going to meet for 30 minutes. We've got the free Zoom account, so we're going to meet for 30 minutes. And if there's a need to continue, we'll go ahead and log off and then come back in. With the free version, you're allowed a 40-minute meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and use that for our 1 hour, and if there was a need to continue, so we have a way to do that. This is also being recorded so that people can look at it later. And if you have any suggestions, so please forward those, either submitting questions or ideas for how to do this particular virtual session in a way that's most productive for all of you, for all of the Vice President of Education. And as a reminder, the Vice President of Education are the ones that are the contact between myself as your Pathways Guide and your club. So if you have any questions from your folks, go ahead and collect them, and then I will get those questions from you, and then we'll go ahead and give you information and answers so that you can return back to your club. We are still on track for going live on February 13th, so it is close, just 12 more days from today. So let's go into some of the questions that have been submitted prior to today. Let's page down. So we've got a couple of questions here. The first question is, can clubs print out the Icebreaker project to include in guest packets? And the initial answer is yes, you are more than welcome to print out the Icebreaker project to include in guest packets. Now, if you are thinking about the 3 to 5 page, sometimes 6 pages that are in our current manuals in the traditional program, it's going to be a little bit more than that. So if you want to go ahead and go to the Pathways page and take a look at the Icebreaker speech, you'll notice that there are several pages. There's some videos. I think there's a video on that one. There's checklists. So you can print out the pages that you would like to include. Just know that there will be more information than is in the traditional system right now. There will also be the evaluation sheet, which will be very important to include. So the answer is yes, just know that there will be more. And you might be selective about what you include, or you might go ahead and have all of it. Think about it this way. Every single member, every single guest wanting to check it out, and anybody curious can go look at the Pathways Icebreaker speech right now. So you might want to print off a few pages and the evaluation sheet, and then provide them with a link to the Icebreaker on the Toastmasters.org website. The second question we have is, can you highlight the material online? And the answer to this question is no, because the material it's not resident in your account. The training material is in a single source place, so everybody will have access to the same material. You're more than welcome to download the information into a PDF and go ahead and highlight that on your PDF file, and you could save that into on your computer, wherever you'd like. So the answer to the question is no, you can't highlight the material online, because the material online is one place where everybody goes. The third question, can members print out the materials for free? Absolutely. All of the materials that you have as a Toastmasters member, you have access to those materials. And just like any site that you go to or any document that you're looking at, you are more than welcome to print out those materials. So if there's a page or a checklist or a website that interests you and you want to have that in hard copy, feel free to go ahead and print that out. The fourth question, what do we call the current program if Pathways is the new program? The current program, according to Toastmasters International, is to be called the traditional program. So what we are in right now, District 23, before we go live, is called the current program. When we go into Pathways, of course, it will just be called Pathways. The next question, how long is the overlap between the launch of Pathways and the end of the current or traditional program? So the overlap between the launch of Pathways and the end of the traditional program is 2 years. And currently the schedule from Toastmasters International is that the world will have gone live by the end of May. That's the current schedule. So in May of 2018, all districts around the world will have Pathways access. That's when the clock will begin ticking for 2 years before the traditional program goes away. So if that's the case and we're on track and on schedule, we will be sunsetting the traditional program in June of 2020. So you have a long time to complete your requirements if you're looking at getting your next accomplishment in the current or traditional program. You, by the way, are more than welcome to go ahead and start Pathways when it comes out. You can also at the same time finish up your traditional program material, or you can go keep on your traditional material and then when you're finished with that, go to Pathways. My personal suggestion is at least go out there, check out Pathways, and maybe consider doing an icebreaker. And of course, your interest to find out that survey of what program may be best for you based on your responses, and then just give it a shot so you know a little bit about what that looks like. All right, our next question. Can club meet educational goals on the Distinguished Club program by mixing current program and Pathways achievements? Absolutely, yes you can. Currently, the educational achievements in the traditional program, there's 6 goals, and they're 2 competent communicators is goal 1, 2 more competent communicators, goal 2, and then you have 2 advanced communicators, and then you have your leadership goals. So you can, if you want, achieve all of those or partial in the Distinguished Club program progress using a current traditional program. If you want, and if you have people completing them, you can have a mixture. So there are 6 goals in the new Pathways program, and this will become the only 6 that you can get once the traditional program is sunset in 2020. So you could have a mixture, say the end of this year. You could have 2 competent communicators, and that's goal 1 in the traditional program. And then you could have 4 people that complete level 1 in Pathways. So the 4 people completing level 1 is the first goal in the Pathways 6 educational goals. I will go ahead and be posting a slide to this effect on the Tumbleweeds Facebook page, so you can look for that information on the Facebook page as well. And any combination is allowed. Now, there is something to note. Because there are 6 educational goals, it will be a combination of 6 with a maximum of 6 that will count towards your Distinguished Club program goals. But please don't limit your members and say, oh, no, we have enough. Everyone should be able to accomplish as much as they would like to. The next question, when Pathways rolls out, will Pathways guides come back out? And I'm assuming that means come back out to the clubs. And the answer to that is it depends on your Pathways guide. If I'm your Pathways guide, and I'm hoping that if you're listening to this, at least some of you are my Pathways people on my clubs, yes, please give me a call, and I will be happy to come back out for an additional Q&A or a session or a demo once we go live. I'm hoping that you as the Vice Presidents of Education will be using these virtual sessions to your advantage and taking the information away that you can go ahead and present in your club. In fact, it might be something where you challenge everybody in the club to give at least one speech on Pathways. And this would be a great opportunity for you as the Vice President of Education as we go live, or even in this virtual session, say for today, is to go ahead and give a speech on what you've learned in the session, or when we go live when you've learned online. The next question, what are the backup plans for the system so the data doesn't get lost? Well, Toastmasters International recognized that they needed to work with a professional organization who does online training materials because it is a very, very complex and important part of our training going forward. So they have contracted with a vendor who does a lot of these online training programs, and both the vendor has the backup and redundant backup plans, and then Toastmasters International is, I believe that they also have their own plans. So yes, all of the details will be stored with that other vendor. So one of the other activities I wanted to do tonight was go ahead and go through a demonstration and show you a little bit about the Pathways environment. So I'm going to change the screen on what I share. So if you will give me just a moment to change what I share. So I'm going to do a stop share for just a second. And then I'm going to do a share screen. And I will come into the Pathways environment. So just bear with me for just a moment. So I'm still with you for just a second if you hold on. Okay, so that should give that to me. And I am changing to sharing the screen. Where'd it go? Ah, there it is. Okay, sharing screen right now. What you should be seeing in front of you is the Pathways environment for my personal account. Now, I don't have access to all of the educational programs when we go live, so the different paths and etc., but I do have access to material. Toastmasters is having us go through the Pathways material and the training, etc., by using the same Pathways environment for people as they would be going through any of the paths in their education. So everybody will have an account, and here's an account up here in the upper right. Now it's a teeny tiny little box, but in that teeny tiny little box is my face, and that is to recognize me, and like a lot of accounts now where you can post your face onto your account, it's where I have mine. So if I click on this little gear shift and go to my account, you will see my face a little bit bigger, that I'm TK O'Geary, I'm a Pathways Guide, and right now I'm a member. I'm in the time zone of the Mountain Time Zone, which I can select, and then you could select a couple of different fonts for your signature, little flexibility there. The next couple of areas is where I have served in certain roles in the Toastmaster meeting. So I'll counter, general evaluator, etc., and those are the dates that I've served. The next one, now this is for Pathways Guides only, but you might have something similar as a member, is I had 10 clubs assigned to me, and then I list each of the clubs, the date that it was scheduled for that briefing to occur, and then the actual briefing that did occur. And then down here at the very, very bottom is the number of virtual support sessions that I've held to date and the dates and times of those activities. So that's in the Pathways environment. And as a reminder, there's the Navigating Basecamp. So when you first get online, you can go ahead and navigate Basecamp. It's like a little guided tour, a virtual tour, so that will help you move around. And then as another reminder, my educational transcript is down here, so you will be saying something similar, I understand, when your tasks are ready for you when you go down certain paths. So you can take the open curriculum right here for the Pathways Guide tasks for me. And let's see. And just as a reminder, you get to store and upload your speech evaluations, and no one can see them. So let me go to another site. And let's go to Toastmasters.org. If you go to Leadership Central and go to the Distinguished Club Performance Reports, you will see the world broke up into their regions. And say we go down here to District 23. And in District 23, we've got 3 different boxes here. So how many clubs do we have, how many payments, and that's the memberships, and the Distinguished Club distinguished clubs when we get to the level when spring dues are being submitted, and that we can determine how many distinguished clubs we have. So the box that I'm checking now is on club performance. So when you're looking at the club performance, you will have how many members you started with on July 1st in your club, how many you have to date in the second box, and then how many goals that you've met. So in this particular case, 21 members, they have 12 to date, and goals to met are 7. So here's your 6 educational goals: 2 competent communicator goals, 2 advanced communicator goals, and 2 competent leader goals. And you might be saying, so where is the information where we're going to go to Pathways? So let's take another look, or a look at another district. And let's go to Nevada, District 33, which was President's Distinguished last year. You'll notice that instead of 3 boxes, we've got 4 boxes here on the club performance. Excuse me, yeah. Just double check something here for just a moment. Yes, so 3 boxes, and then we go to 4 boxes. So here are your traditional program club goals: 2 competent communicator awards, 2 more competent communicator awards, and so forth for your first 6 goals. Here are the Pathways goals. So the first goal is 4 level 1 awards, 2 level 2 awards, 2 more level 2 awards, 2 level 3 awards, 1 level 4 award, and 1 level 5 awards. So these are going down the path. So as you see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have the P in front of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So any combination of these 2 will give you up to 6 goals that you can achieve. And how that's represented in this particular view, let's go down a little bit, is you again have your base and your membership to date, the goals met, and then here are your traditional 6 goals in our traditional program, and then here are the Pathways 6 goals. So that's the 4 level 1s, etc. So that's how that's going to show. And if you wanted to see the club view, let's actually go pick a club. So we'll say Sandpiper Toastmasters Club. This is how it would look with the first 6 goals in the traditional program, and then they have the Pathways goals below that. And of course, your membership goals, officers, there's still training time in February, so get to your February training, and administration. And just back as a plug for training, Toastmasters research has shown that if you have 4 officers trained twice a year, you will have a stronger club as far as members accomplishing their achievements, and then also a club that probably has a few more members. So anyway, that is the demonstration of what that looks like when you're wanting to see how's your club doing on the Distinguished Club program. So let me go to the chat room and see if anybody has submitted any questions. And I don't see any questions. So I have nothing to answer here. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this portion of the Pathways meeting for Vice Presidents of Education. And I will go ahead and store this file. And I'll send you an email on where that file will be located so that you could see it at a later date. And again, if you have any questions that you want addressed before the next or at the next meeting, go ahead and send me an email, and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. I'm looking forward to Pathways. It's going to be an exciting time, and I hope you are looking forward to it as well. Have a great evening.